The train now arriving at platform 5 into 2205, diverted East Coast Main Line service, London, King's Cross.
Hello and welcome to Ballan Parkway OO gauge British layout, Phase 4, Part 5. And I'm mainly going to be dealing with the second part of the engine shed here. Enjoy! There's one drawback having the layout in your garage is that's seasonal changes. So we've had more cold weather this year already, or end of last year, beginning of 2023. It's in the end of January now, it's the 28th, and we've had a frost this morning, and as you can see we've got a bit of residue on the ceiling here. Now I've put this sheeting up here, it's like bubble wrap. You get it from Wicks or places like that, and it has insulated the garage from what it used to be. It used to be a bare roof and used to pour down, so it's improved, but it's had a little bit of damage. So like here on the walkway, it's dripped on that and destroyed it basically, so I can print that off. It's not an expensive thing to do. Also here on the level crossing, that's completely ruined now, and the pathway at the back, it's got very damp. A little bit of mould on there. I'll clean that off, that's not a big problem. But yeah, I need to print that off when it's dry. Do the crossing again. I say probably about 30p worth of damage there really. So I can print that off, that's not a problem. Just time. Yeah, so that's the only drawback with having a layout in your garage. But so I didn't have this problem last year, but this winter's been a lot colder. We've had some severe frost, so it's a test. Now some of you may say, does it damage the locos and rolling stock? I've not come across that with the cold weather, but what I don't do, and this is probably why I've not made a few videos for a while, if you run the locos about an hour before a frost sets in, you could have a problem because the decoder heats up, and if you get moisture in there it could damage your loco. So I'm very careful not to do that. What you don't want is any moisture in there. Also they've got a casing on the top, so if you get a little drip on there it's not too bad, so it's not pouring on there. So this happened before a few years ago and I didn't have any damage, but you could do if you're not careful. So just bear that in mind if your light's in the garage and you're running a loco on a frosty night, and then you could have moisture in that circuitry, so don't do it, just leave it for a while. Okay, this is a three-way point from Pico. Excellent model, all working, all wired up for the point motors, etc. One little snag, I've had this before as well on Pico points. Just here, here and here is where the lines get very close for the continuation of the run of the continuity of the electric pickup, and it's shorting the locos. The flange of the wheel is catching this on certain models, and the whole thing just shuts down when you're running the locos, which is no good at all. I've put a little bit of paper, sticky paper across this, and I've done a yellow one here, so it looks like it's been painted by the engineers on the railway. You do find that, but it stops it shorting. It does work, the locos pass it fine, and we're not having this shorting problem, which was just so annoying. Yeah, it is an issue. It is an issue. But I've resolved that. I've had it before, but this was really bad, this one. So that's the way around it. Okay, I've labelled up all the siding points and signal switches by machine I've bought. a label printer. And now I know what I'm doing, because this wasn't labelled before, and more points and switches and sidings and signals, etc. Let's put it on here. I was getting lost. It wasn't a good idea when running a layout. So this is a second board. This is all wired up and all labelled up with various arrows to each section if needed. And we've got the Smeltworks section there and the mainline point section south. This switch here I may change, it's not working at the moment, so I need to take that out and put a new one in. But yeah, it's just a bit neater. I'll have to do it with other boards as well. Okay, this is the machine I've used for that. I've just got this for some vouchers I got for Christmas at work, and got this, and it's really good actually. So you just key in the letters to what you want to do, you can edit it, and then you press this here, how many copies, prints, and then you just cut it like that, and then you've got the label here upside down, get it the right way around, so like that, passing loop, and it's self-adhesive, so you take the backing off and then stick it on the panel, and it's worked really well. It's really neat. Yeah, that's by Brother. The cartridges are about £11, they're quite expensive. It runs off batteries. My wife's used it a few times for her things, and it's waterproof as well, which is good. Oh, not the machine, actual labels. Yeah, really impressed with that. I'm going to use it a bit further for the railway, for other things as well. So it's a good bit of kit. Okay, what I've had to do here is cut these pillars down a little bit with a Dremel, because they were slightly bigger than the edges here, so it was off balance. So I've done that and had to glue them on with super glue, which I've done. And also you can see here I've added the lighting strips for each section of the 4 lanes. And what I've done here, I've just left this to dry. I've glued in the wires to make it a bit neater. Also got to tidy the rest of it up. It all works. This is just LED warm white light, and that now is fitted. The only problem I've had here is it's self-adhesive, but I found, get a little bit of damp in here, it starts coming off. So I've had to glue it on with super glue. So progress has been made, very slowly. The next bit is these lights here. I'm going to replace them with working LED lights. So that's on each side, they're going to take those off. So slow progress, but we're getting there. Okay, what I've done here is added these copper strips, because they're conductive. It's actually slug tape. It stops slugs getting into plant pots and things like that and eating the plants. But it's conductive. I've used that. I've managed to get some from a hardware shop. So this will be for the lights at the front, the halogen lights. And what I've got to do now is wire the resistors up, solder them, and connect it to this run here. Hopefully I disguise it well enough so they don't want to see it. Because I also want to hide all the wiring as neatly as possible once it's laid down. So let's go from here. Okay, I've tidied the wiring up now. Stuck some down with Gorilla Tape as much as I could. You're not going to hide it all, unfortunately. Like here, it's a bit of a problem. I stuck that down there. I'll probably take the tape off and super glue it before that, so I don't need the tape, because you will see that. I don't really want that there. The ones on the ceiling, it's not too bad. Or the roof of the depot. So, a bit more tidying up and testing next. As you can see, I've had to drill some holes in here to fix the halogen lights. The original false lights were on these sections here. The problem is the wire will go on the roof, it will not right, so I've had to drill into the concrete section to put the lights on each side there. So all that's going to be working, so I'm looking forward to this. I need to position these properly and glue them in. That'll be the next job. Okay, just added these limited clearance signs here. Had a bit more detail into the outside of the depot. Again, a bit more detail always helps. Okay, a little bit of testing here, and the loco on this lane, on this side, was snagging. So I've had to raise this side a little bit. Left little holes for the wires here. I can cover this up. It has to be raised, otherwise it was just snagging on the wires underneath. Only just, but enough to make the loco stop. The other three lanes are absolutely fine. It was just this lane. So I've just raised it a little bit. Okay, each section of the back now, I've put buffer stops in here on each 4 lanes. I've weathered them and painted them, so to stop trains coming out of, or locos coming out of the depot and going off the track. Just age them a bit, put a bit of white fascia on there, and a piece of work. Also, there's more work to be done with stuff at the back, like weeds and stuff like that. So I've got a little bit more to do on there, but yeah, coming on. Okay, I've straightened up the pillars, which needed doing, put some bases on some of them, and yeah, it's coming on really well. I do like the DMU with the light shining through from the lights in the building. It looks like sunlight coming through, and prototypical of that era, where they're using old sheds to service locomotives. Okay, here's the illuminated shed. Just before I started filming, this one here has gone a bit dim. Little connection problem there. Though I may leave it as that, it looks quite good. It's flickering a bit now actually. It may come on. It's trying to come on, look. So there's a loose connection in there somewhere. I'm only powering this by the battery, a 9-volt battery, just for testing purposes. So far looking good. Obviously inside there's a bit of work to do. It's flickering again, look. It's coming on. It's trying to come on. I like this. Yeah, so I've got to put a little bit of base on the bottom of the pillars there. Pillars, sorry. And we're getting there. So all the lights work inside. This one's flickering. It took me a while to do this, but I think it's worth it. The lights originally, the false lights, were on top here, but as I mentioned in an earlier video, the previous video, the wire would be outside on the roof, so I've had to drill it by hand with a tiny drill, hand drill, on each one of these. And I like it. I do like it. Let's go around the other side. And there you've got, it is flickering, I think it's because of a battery. It's not properly wired up yet as such. That's the other side. Yeah, I can see it flickering now, but say it's on a battery, it's not a great connection. Just gives you an idea. Let's look with the lights off. A little bit of work to do, but we're getting there. We are getting there. So, adaptation on a Bachmann 4-lane shed. Slow work, but rewarding. Putting lights in a building just makes it more atmospheric and more realism. So it's just LED lighted strips in there. Seems to work for me. Bit of tidying up to do and detailing, obviously. Not lit the pits up yet, but I'll show you that at a later time. But I'm very happy with that. Very happy. Okay, so here's a night shot of the pits. I've wired the circuitry to the mains now, so it's slightly brighter than I did on the battery, and I'm very happy with this, very happy. You can see there the pits all lit up, and 2 of them. There's all 4 pits in there. I've got a DMU in there waiting for its inspection. Let's take you around the other end. Okay, here's the far end of the shed. Inside, ready for the night shift. Pits again.